Good late Thursday, early Friday. Meteorologist Casey Cloud here in the Weather Center right now with that Memorial Day weekend forecast and more. We'll get into some of those details here in just a few moments in terms of that weekend forecast. But right now, I do want to say, you guys, hey, look at that current Doppler radar because we are going to have coastal storm type impacts toward the East Coast. Not too big of a deal. It kind of sounds worse than it really is. Just some breezy conditions with some shower activity there closer toward the Atlantic coast. Now, right at the beaches, you do have to be kind of concerned with that rip current threat, though. So that'll be something we're watching. But really, the moisture is really going to come together more as we get towards South Carolina, North Carolina, areas around. It seems like Myrtle Beach there, Wilmington. We'll need to be watching a little more carefully. Maybe for this to become a low end named storm here. So we'll see if it becomes Arlene. This area of moisture you kind of see right now. It's very disorganized, but some of the models have it coming together pretty quickly enough to maybe become a weak named system. So that's something to keep an eye on. I know that official start of hurricane season is there next week. So that'll be next Thursday. And next Tuesday night, we'll have a hurricane special in lieu of our formal update there. It'll be at 9:30 or so on all the different platforms, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch. I'll dive more into the tropics in terms of some different things here in just a moment. But again, you do see some of that scattered shower activity right now. Not too big of a deal. I'll go ahead and put some more METARs on. This might be kind of helpful because kind of see where some of this actually is really falling, because some of it may not be reaching the surface in total, but you can see there toward Jacksonville International Airport, up there toward Brunswick, the Brunswick Glencoe area, getting into some of the moisture here. So we'll just kind of watch that again. Those eastern coast areas will need to be paying attention because we could have rip currents. I know people coming in from out of town from a Memorial Day weekend here. You got to be kind of careful because sometimes I've seen in the past these systems, and we get a name, maybe they don't. They don't really impact us too much, but unfortunately, people, visitors especially, that aren't used to the beaches here, I could really be catching up there and getting caught up in some trouble. So just got to be really, really mindful of that as we do look ahead in toward the timeline. Just kind of stay tuned there. If we do have a name system develop and make landfall toward the Carolinas, we'll do special coverage maybe for a little bit here. With some radar stream, we'll probably reposition that here depending on how things set on up with the situation. That's exclusively there on YouTube at Cloud Weather. So make sure you hit that subscribe button there on YouTube to get the latest look at that. So just thank you so much for doing that. If you can, there on that platform, if you're watching another one and aren't doing that or watching on YouTube, just go ahead and do that so you get that number up. More people will watch our coverage that way. More people will be notified of different things that will come up there in their feeds, are different informational sources. The more subscribers you get, generally the algorithm there with YouTube likes to support their kind of getting more and more viewers there and the like. So again, just gonna keep an eye on things to see the thunderstorm outlook. Not too much for tonight. Those East Coast areas, we could have maybe a isolated stronger storm if things come together the right way. I know the HRRR model and I was really backing off the one the highest concern here as we were looking ahead. So that and toward that Friday, and then that's the highest rain chance in the 7 days. Gonna have cool air coming in as well. Just wait till you see that Sunday morning low here, folks. That's going to be kind of interesting for this time of year. You don't think of Memorial Day and the type of low I have forecasted for Sunday morning. So you just want to stick around here in this update for a look at that. Let me go ahead right now, though. See one of our Florida 511 perspectives here. Take you to Jacksonville's I-95 at Hendricks Avenue. You'll kind of see what we're talking about there right now. With this look again, Florida 511 shot here, kind of framed a little bit odd tonight, but nonetheless, you guys can kind of see here some of those conditions do look a little bit cloudy out there. So definitely an interesting picture there again. Florida 511 perspective, but again, you can kind of see here just what's going on overall. Here we do have some weather in New Mexico. We were seeing that on the radar channel Wednesday night. We have some warnings out there over and toward New Mexico still again tonight, right now. So I know we'll kind of move our map over that way just a little bit here, take a little bit of a tour. So bear with me here to try to move this map on over. You'll be able to kind of just see that Doppler right now is pretty quiet going down I-10 per se, but we had that terrible weather in southeast Texas, kind of rogue, severe, and tornadic type acts in there back earlier in the week back on Tuesday. But this is where it is right now. Some of our nasty weather, some significant tornado parameters at least showing up, and then some warnings north of Clovis in New Mexico here. I know we had some really just terrible weather come through Clovis last night. Even PDS tornado warnings there in northeastern New Mexico. Don't see that too often. Amarillo under severe thunderstorm watch over there as well. So that's over toward the Texas panhandle. So nothing overwhelming in terms of the weather, but in terms of that national picture, but at least worth mentioning, of course, that national picture, if you extend it out to Guam, they got hit by that significant typhoon there. I think things could have been worse based on some initial reporting that's coming out of there, but still quite a bit of damage. People losing power out there for sure. Still a really big impact for them, the worst they've seen in years in Guam, but maybe not just a historic storm in terms of just like catastrophic impacts because that system, that typhoon really strengthened and just turned so violent looking once it got past there again. So something for that international type viewpoint. Also, you might be seeing that I'm wearing my FSU tie here. That's because the Seminoles there got the big win against the Georgia Bulldogs tonight in softball there. And 1 win away now from the Women's College World Series in Oklahoma City in that final eight are my nose. So excited about that. Well, this should be pretty good for that Friday night matchup there on ESPN against Georgia. Number 3 Florida State, number 14 Georgia. Well, this would be pretty good out there. I mean, out toward the east, they're going to be a little more breezy here in general and cooler even in general, but because of that impact there of that nor'easter type situation. But even out toward the west, you're having that impact because we have drier conditions than maybe you would generally get here in the late part of May. So this kind of interesting to keep that in mind here in the Weather Center. Let's see what else we have to talk about tonight. I kind of look at my notes real quick. I know just checking some different things. I'll be watching there and watching that radar channel as well. Make sure to go over to that. Hopefully we can get some more viewers watching that and more people subscribing here to the YouTube channel. That's at Clouds Weather on YouTube, youtube.com/at Clouds Weather. And then you can search that if you can't find it that way necessarily. I prefer to find it just on YouTube in general. Search meteorologist Casey Cloud and that'll take you to the page here. And you'll be able to see all the different things, that exclusive stream to that platform. We have it going on another computer right now, so hopefully we can get more people watching that here when we're not on and get that subscriber number up here to keep that going, that service there going. So again, just gonna keep on watching things here in the Weather Center in terms of all the different aspects of things. But right now, I do want to kind of move our attention over to some different things here. We'll kind of get back to the weather itself in just a moment, but I do want to talk about right now. I want to wish a happy retirement to Jacksonville and WJXT Chief Meteorologist John Gahn. Hard to believe, hard to even think about saying that here on the air because I grew up watching him to some degree. He was there with George Winterland for so long there. And George retired there in 2009, and then John took over with that as Chief Slot. Of course, George still was a hurricane expert there for a few years after that. But this is a picture from 2003, early 2003 there, Lobby Grid, and I had a chance to meet him there. I know George Winterland came to my school here, Southside Elementary in Stark, back there in late 2002, and ended up getting a tour there for our family in early 2003, knew my interest in meteorology, so that was really exciting to go up there, and John was there. And again, just wishing John a happy retirement there. Over 30 years at that station. He worked in Orlando in his career. He worked there in Jacksonville, another station, there was JKS there. I was Channel 17 at that point there. So it's kind of interesting in the grand scheme of things as we look at different things here in terms of that. I know here in the Weather Center, you can hear all of our different computers making those noises from time to time because they're trying to get all that latest weather data. Back then, I know things were still in the earlier stages in terms of computer technology there in the early to mid 1990s. So just again, congratulations to John. I know that tour there that George gave us, the legendary chief meteorologist there. He was there for so long at WJXT, and that was set up at Southside Elementary School to some degree, where I first met him in late 2002. And that school actually today is going to be their last day there before the students shift off to a new school. So kind of ironic there in that regard, I guess you could say. But again, just happy retirement to John and also his co-anchor there on the news desk, Mary Bear, also retired, and happy retirement to her. So let's go ahead and now see you guys at Tropical Climatology. You can see here the annual hurricane special that we're going to be doing is going to be Tuesday there, May 30th at 9:30 p.m. on all the different platforms in lieu of our formal update about 9:30 there with that. So just kind of tune in for that. You can see again, looking around June 1st, we get tropical storms sometimes, but it's not something you see a whole bunch. Sometimes we get an early season or preseason storm, like what we like to call them. Could get that with Arlene here because that'd probably be before. I mean, it have to be before start of June here. That one that we're watching right now, at least, were to develop. Of course, something else could get the name Arlene instead. We did have a storm in January, but it wasn't named at the time, so they decided not to use that name Arlene kind of in Roy in the past there and kind of do it like that. They're just going to kind of assume the first storm was like number one, and then the second storm will be starting off with that A name on the list. So again, just kind of interesting there to keep in mind. In terms of that, and then we'll go ahead and see now the next 7 days in terms of that rainfall forecast here. That rainfall forecast you can again get that radar stream YouTube there at Cloud Weather. YouTube at Cloud Weather, that radar stream going. Maybe shift our attention to the Carolinas. You see all that rain, you see all that moisture there, kind of there, right by my shoulder, looking there, kind of, and you can really see all those areas of yellow in terms of 10 plus inches of rain right off the coast. But even toward Wilmington and Myrtle Beach, we could have quite a bit of rain, looking like lots of rain for St. John's, Flagler, Duval, Camden, Glen, those coast areas here locally. But there'll be more rain there from this, and areas further west won't see too much of an impact from it, and not much rain overall in the next 7 days toward areas like Albany. So again, just kind of interested in that regard here as we're looking at that weather information here in the weather center. So again, you can kind of just see that. So again, could have some flash flooding there toward the Carolinas. We'll just have to wait and see there with that potential. Of course, if we have something to get a name, we'll be mentioning that here and doing a little bit of special coverage. It shouldn't be something that's too impactful though, but I mean, always if you get a name, you can start to have that threat or even something close to getting that, maybe that threat of a tornado, something like that. So again, just something to kind of keep in mind here as we are looking at this Weather Prediction Center rainfall forecast for the next 7 days. So again, just kind of giving you guys a look at that here. We'll now go on over. We'll now go on over toward Memorial Day. This is a very important topic here. I know it is what some folks like to call the unofficial start of summer, but it also there really has a very important purpose. It's about honoring those who made the ultimate sacrifice. Like right here, this picture is of my paternal granddad. I know my dad's a little bit older, and this was his dad there. And he unfortunately got killed during an accident in World War II. So again, it's very important to honor those who made the ultimate sacrifice. You can see it there behind me to some degree there, and you can see it fully now on that monument that they have in Savannah from the World War II. There, the event that took place, and where so many folks lost their lives. So again, just very important. That's what it's about. I know we have Veterans Day. We're really honoring those veterans, but this is about those who were killed in accident and made that ultimate sacrifice. So again, the picture of him from way back there in the 1940s, serving there in France, and unfortunately he didn't make it home. But let's go ahead and see you guys now that full forecast. We'll go ahead and see you guys out here for the next 7 days. You can see here a 40% chance of rain on that Friday, 30% on that Saturday there, 20% on Sunday. So you see those rain chances falling on down some there. Start to rise behind me. I'll get to that in a moment. But you see 74 degrees on that Friday. So it's going to be almost where you need a jacket if you're like at the beach or something. Rainy, cloudy, cool. Breezy out there. Definitely want that jacket on hand. And then you can see we'll start to see a temperature increase a little bit here as we get toward like next Monday, there Memorial Day, of course, all those important events around the area to honor those who made that ultimate sacrifice. So we'll begin up to 86, but earlier on in the day, it'll still be a little bit cooler. You see, starting out at 59, so not too bad, not too much rain. Some years you can have a lot of high rain chances roll around, but not necessarily the case this year. So that's at least a little bit of good news as we're looking at that there. Again, we were watching that rip current thread. That might be the most important thing. Just make sure if you're going to those East Coast beaches, be really careful because we could. I mean, I've seen it a lot. We have these systems we're really not too concerned locally about, but unfortunately, we have local injuries or fatalities here from rip currents. So please, please be careful at the East Coast beaches. I know, I mean, it's happened so many times here. This Memorial Day weekend, I just think about it over the years. We have these systems again. They're not a big deal, and unfortunately, we don't really hype them up here because they don't need to be hyped up. But right at the beaches and in those waters, you just gotta be extra, extra careful here. Again, we'll be watching, we'll be tracking. We don't have a logo red or anything. We have that special Memorial Day flag type logo there in the corner. We'll use that if we can, if there's not a tropical system like what we had with Nicole there back last year, or the like on days like Veterans Day or the 4th of July. A lot of times lately I've had that logo red, so I haven't been able to use it. We're not going to use it on the radar channel necessarily because I just kind of go between blue and red on there. But on here, using that with the flag logo, just so important to think about Memorial Day there. And those who made that ultimate sacrifice there, talking about the armed forces. I mean, just so sad. But let's go ahead and let me step out of the way right now. We're going to start to wrap things up here on this Thursday now. You can kind of see what we're talking about in terms of that extended forecast here for the next 7 days. Again, things warming up even toward 89. You see we're below average as we're earlier on in the period. It's going to be kind of nice, but then start to warm up to more days. I mean, the high is typical for this time of year, the low not so much, but then as we get to 88, 89 degrees as we look later in the war next week. So that's really getting up there. That's really getting higher up on the board here. I mean, you're going to be above average pretty much before you know it. So you'll need to be. I mean, by then, that'll be probably a little bit closer to average because these averages are for your Friday here for Jacksonville and Tallahassee. But still, nonetheless, I mean, just the overall picture here does promote some of those warmer temperatures coming into play. And we had all that rain earlier in the week here. We needed that rain in Bradford County, but now kind of some time to dry out. I mean, those scattered storms can start to develop, especially as we get later next week again. But right now, we're not talking about as much of having to come on for those thunderstorm warnings. We had that kind of early on, and then we get a break of that. A break from that, I should say. So that's some good news. I mean, because we don't really need the rain. The drought outlook here should be starting to look a little bit better with some of that rain we got here toward Bradford. It was really beneficial. I mean, we didn't have too much flooding. We had a little bit of it here and there. You always got to be careful, but we really did need that rain. We saw toward like Sunday and Monday here in parts of north central Florida, even though it is inconvenient. It can get you wet out there for sure. We do need stuff like that here from time to time. That should be about all we need to talk about here tonight. I think that pretty much covered everything. So we'll be back here at Nita. We'll be watching the tropics with that radar stream. They're available. So keep that in mind. That radar stream is available there. In fact, I'll go ahead and I'll just go back over to our radar real quick here. You can see not too much going on. I have it looping over there though on our YouTube channel, and that is available there. YouTube at Clouds Weather. So make sure you hit that subscribe button over there. We have that going. So just something to keep in mind there. You also have Facebook, Casey Cloud WX Cloud Weather. You have Twitter at Cloud Casey. So just other places you can go for our live updates for some different things. You have the auto alerts there on Twitter as well. That account, you have Twitch, you have the website. We post different things with daily history. We update that every little bit once we get those chances to do so here. Sometimes it's kind of busy, but we at least keep that within a month there, being up to date with the latest. We have all the different data here over the last couple of years from our location. We have that interactive radar. If you don't want to use the live streaming radar, you can use the interactive radar, but both are under that tab there, that radar tab as well, on cloudweather.com. So all the different platforms there, giving you guys the latest. Have a great night. Have a great weekend.